Welcome to Global Tax Talk. I'm Will Morris, and we're filming here in Singapore at PwC's Asia Global Tax Symposium, where I'm delighted to be joined by Steve Chia, who is PwC's Malaysia country tax leader. Steve, welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Will.
Good. So let's kick off. So Malaysia, we always have to talk about Pillar 2. Malaysia has introduced, said it had plans to introduce Pillar 2 in 2025. It's announced it'll introduce new tax incentives, which obviously have an interaction with Pillar 2, to attract foreign and local investments with implementation later this year. So what should we be expecting in this area?
Okay, thanks, Will, for the question. I'll say that yes, I think when it comes to Pillar 2, it's definitely on.
Right.
In fact, the government have gazetted the legislation, they've issued guidance notes as well as FAQs to actually help companies to transition into Pillar 2. So yes.
It's coming.
So it's for sure,
Right.
it is coming. So a lot of corporates have already starting the process of doing their impact assessment, also looking at how they can actually move forward with their compliance process.
Great. Now, we're going to talk about incentives.
Okay, yeah. So that's where you will then move on to the incentive front. So I think on the incentive bit, the government has been quite proactive to look at how they can really review and revamp the incentive regime in Malaysia.
Right.
I would say that we have been very generous when it comes to incentives,
Yes.
but it's been a very standard incentive package where if you meet those conditions, then normally corporates will be able to enjoy those incentives. So I think as we move forward, the government realized that, hey, if you want to get some benefits from us, it is important that you must be able to deliver value back to the country. So hence, as we are moving forward, the government have announced that they're going to launch the new investment incentive framework, what we call the NIIF, that where the details will be released in the third quarter of this year. So I think do watch out on this space. And the focus will be looking at a tiered approach based on outcome. So which means that if you meet 5 conditions, you're going to get 5%.
Right.
If you meet 10 conditions, then potentially you could go down to all the way to 0.
Okay.
But of course, all that have to be then be sensitive with the development with Pillar 2 as well. So I think that's where the government is trying to come up with something that is sensible, that fits the different categories of investors, because we do have the Pillar 2 investors, or also those that's below 750, then that we also need to cater for that group as well.
Okay, very interesting. It'll be interesting to see how that turns out. Okay, so let's move on from there to sort of more indirect taxes. And Malaysia currently has a sales and service tax, but there's been some debate about reintroducing the goods and services tax. It seems at the moment these sort of switch every couple of years because of the SST's limitations in relation to generating revenue and efficiency. So what's the status here? And of course, what challenge do companies face as the system keeps moving around? Yeah,
that's a very important question, because actually in the last couple of years, there's always been a debate whether should the Malaysian government reintroduce GST? Because as tax professionals, you know that GST is a lot more efficient. And I think even the business community at large do appreciate that. After tasted GST a couple of years back and now reverting back to SST, generally the consensus is that that should be the way to go.
Right.
But from the government standpoint, I think the other part that they need to balance is from the social aspects. And their concern is that once GST comes back, the expectation is that will impact the people at large, mainly the lower income group. So hence at this point, balancing the two, they decided to not reintroducing GST at the moment, but instead the strategy that they're taking is try to tweak the current SST regime. So last year they've increased the rate from service tax from 6 to 8%, so that's one. This coming year, they're looking at increasing the rate for sales tax for certain non-essential goods, so that at least it doesn't impact the lower income category. And they are also expanding the scope of service tax. So it's supposed to happen on 1st May, but they have delayed that by 1 month because they need to get the details ready. And that expansion is actually have quite a far-reaching implications. They look into financial services, construction, commercial leasing, private healthcare, as well as private education. So you can see that it's quite a wide expansion in terms of the service tax scope. So I think with that, it is important that companies need to really start to look at their tax impact, because unlike GST or VAT, it is we have the input tax mechanism. SST, unfortunately, is a single stage tax. So which means that
cascades as well.
it has the cascading effect. So as the scope broadens, I
Right.
think then the impact of cascading is going to worsen. So the government realized that, so they do have things like business-to-business exemption to try to cushion the impact of cascading. But of course, with all these facilities, it will never be perfect.
Right.
So I think hence companies will really need to look at how they restructure their value chain, the way of financing. Like, do I acquire or do I lease, right? Because now with leasing, I have to pay extra 8%, for example.
Wow, those are quite a set of changes. Great. So look, one last question. There is everywhere, a call for enhanced tax governance and also a call for enhanced tax transparency. So can you talk to us a little about where companies are in Malaysia on this journey?
Okay. I think it's gaining traction. The tax authorities have launched the corporate tax governance framework.
Right.
It was in 2022 as a pilot program. As of 2024, 7 entities has been approved, and 3 more was announced a couple of months back. So definitely that has been the momentum that the authorities are actually trying to promote the adoption of governance in Malaysia. From the corporate standpoint, I think they are taking initially a very cautious approach. But I think as there's a lot more education and awareness, we can see that even at the board level, they're a lot more receptive. So we are actually seeing a lot more inquiries coming through to see potentially how they tap into the benefits of this corporate tax governance, because it comes with quite a number of benefits. Number one is they don't get tax audit for 3 years. So I think that is a good good benefit. Expedited tax refunds. And I think most importantly, they get a dedicated tax officer. I think similar to a lot of the other governance regime, right? And I think that helps with the early engagement to ensure tax issues are being addressed upfront rather than waiting it, sort of sitting it through, simmering it, and then becoming an issue later on.
Right.
Yeah.
Good. Steve, thank you so much for joining us. This has been really interesting, and some of these developments we'll clearly come back to because those sound relatively big. So again, thank you very much for joining us.
Yep. Thanks, Will. Thanks for having me. Yeah.
And thank you for joining us, and come back next time so that you stay global tax ready.